Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Tuesday, July 15th. It is day 8, technically, in the Big Brother house. They entered the house a week ago today. For those of you that only check in once a day, I did a second podcast yesterday, so I did 2 on Monday. So today's podcast shouldn't be as long, and there may be bits and pieces that I talked about yesterday that I won't even touch on today. As a matter of fact, this morning's will be kind of brief. I suspect I may do another one this afternoon. I am still trying to wrap my brain out of alliances, relationships. Things are developing and changing, and we're getting a better understanding pretty much almost hourly. Things come up, and it's kind of like, oh, okay. So, the things that I learned early this morning when I got up and looked at my phone before I rolled out of bed, Vince and Jimmy have a final 2. I guess they've assumed they've had a final 2 with each other for a while. They affirmed it early this morning, walking around in the backyard and talking. I guess it was quite moving. I'm kind of being sarcastic here, but it was a lot. It seemed to go on for a while. I didn't watch it. I only caught it on people's comments, again, as I went through my timeline on Blue Sky this morning, catching up with all the different people that are doing a wonderful job of catching things, because there's just no way that I can do it on my own, that others can do it on their own. We're all one big community working to get this stuff figured out. So appreciation again to everybody that is posting updates, watching things on Blue Sky, and wherever else they are. That's just where I happen to be watching, is Blue Sky. So, and for those of you that don't know, let me just throw that in there. Blue Sky is an alternative to the app most of you know as Twitter. And again, most of you also know that I moved to it this past fall. So that's where a decent chunk of us are hanging out this year and keeping tabs on the show. Again, as far as what's going on, to briefly summarize, yesterday, Ashley used her power of veto, and Vince nominated in her place Kelley, which Kelley had kind of volunteered, but she was kind of hesitant, but Vince took her up on her offer, and that may be her undoing, because it really does sound like at least Vince is going to be fine if Kelley goes. He was actually saying things like, well, she's been taking up a lot of my time, so if she's not around anymore, I have more time to spend with talking with other people. So, I don't know. Kelley seems to have this idea in her head that she's, being great, being anti-Rachel and being just being disruptive, but it's not gaining her any good will right now with anybody. Nobody's going like, yeah, that's a good thing, we should get rid of her, or get rid of Rachel, and we should keep Kelley around. So, yeah, Kelley, as of right now, I think she might be in a problem. I mean, she might be in a bad space. I would say that Amy is in really good with Rachel, obviously, as I mentioned before, and Isaiah. Isaiah goes by Zay, and I keep thinking Zach, but it's Zay. Has been doing a lot of campaigning, and I think he's okay. I'm not sure. He is a speed talker. He's got alliances working. I posted it yesterday, different alliances that he's in. I watched him sitting there talking with Will about forming additional alliances, and Will being like, yeah, I'm all for that. I can't even keep track of all of them. I really cannot keep track of all the different alliances that are going on, which ones are serious and which ones are short-term, which ones are already gone. It's a lot. There is just a lot going on when you have 17 people in the house, and pretty much anybody will say yes to almost any alliance, so you can't get a good feel for where things at. So right now, all I'm thinking is it really does look like, I would say Amy is the safest, Kelley is in the most danger, and if Zay versus Amy, I think Isaiah will go. And if it's Kelley versus Isaiah, I think Kelley will go for now. But again, we're Tuesday, and we've got 2 more days for things to happen. Anything else that I can tell you? Keanu, he was just, again, yesterday he was crazy all over the place, running around. A bit more expounding on what happened. There was a snake comment made by Keanu in the past couple of days where he was calling different people snakes. And he called Rachel a snake to others. He called Morgan a snake to others. And he called Jimmy a snake to others. And Jimmy got word of it. And that was the whole call-out thing, was Jimmy calling out Keanu after the Power Veto meeting. I talked about this already yesterday, but just to kind of clarify it a bit more, Keanu had a snake neck, or not Keanu, Jimmy also had a snake necklace on at the time, which Keanu, when they were joking about it, he said, yeah, that was a nice touch. So I posted the after POV talk between Keanu and Jimmy on Blue Sky yesterday evening. For those of you that hadn't seen it or want to see it, I don't know if they'll show that meeting on the feeds on the show, because it's a boring meeting compared to probably the fireworks of Jimmy Jimmy standing up and talking to the whole crowd. Who else? What else? Lauren and Zach. My sense is that they've been trying to kind of showmance, but they haven't been able to get as much alone time together as maybe Zach would like. I'm not sure how into Zach Lauren is, but I'm not sure how into Zach Lauren is. Zach certainly seems to be very into her. What else? Kelley's in trouble. They played hide and seek last night. I just saw Mickey's picture. They played many games of hide and seek, and some of the women were very good at hiding. One of the guys was too. I don't know who was the guy that they couldn't find. They couldn't find a guy at one point. I saw Mickey literally climb underneath one of the couches, or one of the chairs, couches, whatever you want to call it, in the back, what we used to call like the fire pit area. She climbed under there. I think Zach was the one sitting on the chair, and she stayed hidden for a good long time. Also, Catherine did a really good job. I don't know where she hid. As a matter of fact, no one. They said it may not be on camera wherever she hid, and it's a very hard spot to get into, and she wasn't even sure that it's on camera. That doesn't mean it isn't, but she didn't know if it was on camera or not, so maybe we never even saw her hiding in it. None of this matters. This is just them playing around. They were killing time last night. Again, I talked a lot last night about Rachel, or yesterday afternoon about Rachel and her game. I just think she's going to dominate for quite a while, if not win the whole thing. If you want to hear me expound more on that, then again, check out yesterday's podcast. What else of note? If we see it kick up, Zay dropped the R word. If you don't know what the R word is, then you're just not very up to date on your words you do not say. And the R word is one of those words, and I'm not even going to say it because I don't want to get in trouble. And I'm not trying to be anti-political correct. I understand I wouldn't say it anymore. It's a word that I used to be in my vocabulary. I would say it a lot, but I certainly wouldn't say it anymore because it just carries a whole lot of weight with it now. And so, anyways, the implied meaning of it would be someone's slow, someone's not very smart. So you understand what I'm saying. And so it's just a word that isn't used anymore, or it is seen as an insult. And there's people that are really bothered by it, and so it's just a word you just should take out of your vocabulary. Well, Zay tossed it out while playing chess. I think he was playing chess with Keanu. I think that's who he was playing with. And he said it. He said, I've been trying not to say that word, or I need to stop saying that word, or take it out of my vocabulary, something to that effect. And I think this is off what I was reading online, several comments. I didn't go back and watch it. I don't know. But the person he was with said, it's late, or maybe he said it's late, the cameras may not be on. Well, obviously the cameras were on. So if you see a buzz online about that thing that Zay said, or that Zay said something, or he said a word, he crossed the line, that's probably what it's about. So take that for what it's worth. I know there are many of you out there that would just roll your eyes and say, oh my gosh, it's not that big of a thing. And all I can say is, it's kind of one of those generational things at this point. Folks that are my age, it was thrown around. The word was thrown around just willy-nilly, without any thought, and it's become much less acceptable to be used. And so, yeah, you will tick people off if you're throwing it around like that. So just keep that in mind. And why do you need to use it? Just don't. It's easy enough. Just remove it from your vocabulary, and you'll never have to worry about annoying anyone. There's lots of other ways to express that sentiment without using that word, right? All right. That may be it for this morning. It's going to be a short one. I did do a long one yesterday on the way home, as I said. So the overnight, I covered the afternoon. I watched the evening feeds. I actually posted a lot of videos on Blue Sky and thoughts and screen caps. I just was having still having a hard time wrapping my brain around specific relationships. There's a lot of one-on-one relationships going on, but when you zoom out, it's hard at this point still to get a good grasp because there's so much going on. There are so many moving pieces. And other than knowing that it's very likely that Kelley goes home on Thursday, it's very hard to tell what the next dynamic is going to be. Things will shift tremendously based on who wins the next head of household. That's why this is hard to tell. It still hasn't gelled. There are relationships that are tenuous at best. There are relationships that are very strong. But again, we saw Vince make a Final 2 deal with Kelley, and he's now ready to let her go. Saw Vince make a Final 2 deal with Jimmy this morning. How solid is that? I don't know. We've seen Rachel give one-on-one counseling with several house guests yesterday, and I don't think any of those are super strong relationships. They are all the only strong relationship I think that Rachel has. I think she has a very strong one with Amy, and I think that is still one of convenience. I think that is one where Rachel is with Amy because Rachel thinks that she can get far with Amy, but she's ready to dump Amy at any time. This is not, people are like, oh, she's won before, she doesn't care, she's only in, oh, hell no, it's $750,000. She only won $500,000, and that was over 10 years ago. That money is long gone, I am sure. This would be a big payday for her if she were to win it. So, that's what's up. There shouldn't be there's no Power Veto meeting today. There's nothing going on. Oh, Have-Nots is over. Have-Nots ended at midnight. So I think they still have to sleep in the bedrooms. They still have to sleep in their bedroom, but because there's no beds anywhere else. But they don't have to, their diets aren't restricted. And I think they can take hot showers because I think Rachel was talking about she wanted to stay up past midnight so she could wash her hair. So I think the cold water penalty is over and the food penalty is over. I do think they still have to sleep in the rooms because there is just no other room where they can sleep, right? Other than that, any other one last minute thing, we had talked about there being a potential secret passage at the top of the stairs to get to the outside. We were kind of speculating that maybe, and I was kind of the one that thought, oh, maybe, but I don't think there is. I don't think the door at the top of the stairs does anything that it hasn't done before, and I think they just framed it in because it's there. We'll see. Maybe they'll turn it into something. And there's also some speculation by people, and I wondered it too, the memory wall, because there's 17 house guests, and last year they didn't. Was it last year or the year before? The last time they had 17 and they went to 16, they did not use the memory wall until they were down to 16 house guests. They kept it blank. Well, this year they have all 17 house guests on the wall, and so rather than having 8 on one monitor and 9 on the other, they have 8 on one and 9 on. They have 9 on both of them, and they're like picture frames, and one of the picture frames just has the Big Brother logo in it. And so there has been some speculation that maybe they'd be adding another house guest. I can't see them adding a house guest at this point. Maybe they'll use it if they have a special visitor. or something, or maybe they'll just use it for whatever they decide to do when they do these, sometimes they do these videos that they show, and they show them on the different screens. Maybe they'll just fill that frame with that. I'm not sure. Maybe somebody just needed to have it symmetrical with picture frames, and that was the picture so they filled a blank spot with that just to keep everything symmetrical. I'm not sure, and we probably will never know if they just leave it that picture frame the whole time, then that must be the answer. Otherwise, who knows? And with that, I am now out of here. We will talk to you guys probably tomorrow. We'll see, unless something comes up, all right? Thank you for your support. Thanks for listening. And thanks again, just everybody. Thank you. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.